we're experiencing frustration about some of this anti-vax stuff as just media hosts and people that work and cover this stuff every day. But it pales in comparison to what ICU nurses and healthcare workers are experiencing. So this was tweeted out yesterday by an ICU nurse who is named Andrew. And he posted a 2-part video to Twitter explaining why he actually quit being an ICU nurse because the Omicron wave became too much. He is based in Michigan, is my understanding. Michigan is a right to work state. And that becomes relevant when you hear him describe his experience.
My name's Andrew. I'm an ICU nurse, and I just quit my job in the hospital working in the ICU. I wanted to talk about a little bit my reasoning why. I'm not the only one that has done this. I'm not the only one that's talked about this. But I just want to give people a little bit of an explanation of why nurses are doing this. So, a little quick background, the way it works. A normal patient to nurse ratio in the ICU should be 2 patients per nurse. The norm right now is probably 3 patients per nurse every shift. Some places are doing 4 with a full ICU, and that's months on end. I mean, we've been doing COVID for 2 years nearly, so you can imagine how often we are in this situation. Med-surg floors are probably taking 8 patients per nurse, 10 per nurse, 12 per nurse some places, and this is nationwide that it's happening. A post-cardiac arrest patient, a post-code blue patient should be a 1-to-1 patient because I'll be in that room for 14 hours straight because there's so much that is involved in keeping that person alive. But there's been multiple times where I've had 2 other patients, intubated patients with COVID, and have to take that post-code patient as well in addition. Now, staffing in hospitals has been a problem long before COVID. We've been in a health crisis before COVID, but people don't want to really talk about that much either. We just want it to be normal. But full-time staff have been recognizing they can go work for a travel agency or a contract agency and take contracts with large bonuses and higher hourly wages. Full-time staff leave, travelers are brought in for 4 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever their contract is, then they move on to their next job. It's not very helpful, and you don't know what to expect. I mean, I know that comes with working in a hospital, but it shouldn't be, that rocky every shift for staff or charge nurses, for nurse managers. And it's kind of hard to have.
Sorry, this was posted in 2 parts. Here's the next part.
Have 3 patients be precepting a brand new graduate nurse, training them, helping out travel nurses around the unit because they don't know all the policies, they don't know what this doctor wants, what that doctor wants, they don't know where everything is. And you're making $35 an hour, they're making $80 an hour, $120 an hour, some of them. This is why more experienced nurses are leaving and hospitals are sucking graduate nurses into 2-year contracts. And these nurses are anxious, they're terrified, they don't know how to do this job yet. They're not going to feel comfortable in this job until the 1-year mark maybe. And they're having to do it in outright ridiculous staffing conditions and taking workloads that are insane. I know many aspects of labor are experiencing similar things, but we in this field are seeing actual deaths as a result from it every single day. We all know there's no labor shortage. We have nurses, they just don't want to pay them. So they tell us if we strike, we are abandoning our team and our patients, and we care about our patients, so we don't. But that's how they keep control of us. So we need better laws, we need walkouts, we need strikes, and we're fed up. They took something that we're good at and we are proud to do, and they made us bad at it because we're stretched too thin. And these companies and our leaders do not care about these patients. They do not care about our lives, and they are actively stealing our lives from us.
So he wrote under this He's at IntelligeInt on Twitter. If anyone wants to send him some love, I also retweeted this video. He wrote under this video, "To be clear, I am not in a union. There are none here. I would love to be, but most places are all private systems." And yeah, you can form a union in a private company. That is like completely, of course, people understand that. But the barriers and the difficulty to do so are heightened when you're in a right to work state. And this is a huge part of it. And like, I mean, at the start of the show, we were talking about monoclonal antibodies and the recklessness with which certain media members present cures that are not accessible for certain people. These are the consequences of that. The workers, the nurses, the doctors who are on the front lines of this. And like we had at the beginning of the pandemic, the New York Times, let's look inside the hospital, inside the COVID ward. Let's look at the suffering that we're seeing. And people grappled with that for a second. They clapped outside their windows for the healthcare workers. But there really is not a fundamental understanding of what it is like to feel like your life is in peril on a daily basis when you're going to work, and you also don't have any protection from your employer. That's blaming you for having concerns about your labor value and the fact that you're not getting paid enough and you don't have the security and you are stretched so thin, and there is no culpability on their end. There's no desire on their end to care about the patients. It's only on the workers that they thrust everything onto. And we're not going to give you any protection, any ability to band together with your colleagues and step up in solidarity and demand, you know, fair wages and fair protections. And so we're going to be seeing more of this because the brutality is not at the forefront enough.
This is why when politicians start talking about how we need to recognize the contributions of folks, politicians and particularly business owners need to stop talking about recognition and start talking about compensation. And that's like all these, and it's also just absurdly despicable that we allow our hospitals to be owned by capitalists. I know just in the North Dakota area, the South Dakota hospitals are basically owned by Sanford, who is a subprime baron being investigated for child pornography, and also hospitals owned by like credit card company folks, right? Like these are the people who make the decisions for hospitals, and of course they're going to exploit these people and not give anything, and you're going to see more patients per nurses, and you're going to see accidents caused by that cause deaths because we have underexperienced folks that are put in situations that they are overly challenging, and it's really despicable.
And it's not, to your point, it's not in any way rectified by some sort of pat on the back. Like, we cannot keep asking nothing of capitalist owners in this country and everything of everyone else.
Like, listen to this.
It's unsustainable.
This sort of language should be met with hisses. This is Joe Biden yesterday, or 2 days ago. "To our frontline workers, I am in awe of your sacrifices. Thank you for the work you are putting in on this wave after a painful and difficult 2 years. We owe you a tremendous debt." Is that symbolic? "I am once again asking for your strength, and I'll never forget it." What are you doing, though? Like, you're asking for strength, and you're going to get it because people will like continue to make sacrifices until they get, too burned out to do it. But what are we doing? What is it? What is this tremendous debt that we're talking about? Like, this is just a symbolic thing that politicians can say, "Oh no, we recognize what you're doing. Good job."
But please keep your trauma sufficiently internalized so that we can keep our system running as is.